So when I come to you, you're going to take the microphone, you're going to say who you are, you're going to say three things about yourself. Two of them are true, one is a lie. And we have to guess which is the lie. We're trying to guess the lie. So start creating, because some of you are like, what do I do in my life? I don't know. So I'm coming to, and see, I like this side of the room, right? Because I'm like, our speakers on our panel. So I'm coming to the speakers on the panel first. And there's always ladies first, and she's like right by the corner. So I was like, why not? So you're going to just introduce yourself and tell us two things about you that are true, and one is a lie, and then we'll try and guess. Let's go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tim Tokba Yusuf. What else to say? Okay. I'm a SIMA member. I have 3 kids, and I'm an accountant.
She says she's a SIMA member. She has 3 kids and she's an accountant. So which is the lie? What do we think is a lie? Anybody? Which one do we think is a lie? Yeah, I like when women give, because we have already CID. So let me ask. So which one do you think is a lie? Wait, do you know her? Because when you said that with such pride, you shouldn't be. They came from the same. It's like they came from the same house, Abby. Like, let me just drop you first. So you said the lie is that she's not a SIMA member. Does anybody think there's another lie that's not the real lie? Does anybody think that's not the real lie? It's like this, her sister. Let me just. Which one is the lie? So okay, let's have her confirm. So which one is the lie?
No, she's correct.
Oh, okay. You see, friends and family should not do this game. Okay, so I'm gonna go this way. Young man, introduce yourself. Give us 2 truths and a lie.
My name is Abiodun Akala. I work in finance, FP&A, and I have 2 daughters. My office location is in VI.
Wow. What a statement. So he works in finance, he has 2 daughters, and his office is in VI. So which one do we think is a lie? Let me come to you. Wait first. If you know him, don't shout. If you know him, don't shout. Let me come. There's 4 ladies sitting at this table. Like, I know you're like, somebody knows the answer. Which one do we think is a lie? Which one do we think is a lie? You think the office in VI 1 is a lie? So how many people think the office in VI 1 is a lie? Which one do we think is a lie? You think that he has 2 daughters is a lie? Okay, let's have him confirm. So which one is the lie?
I have 2 daughters.
Oh, do you have any daughters at all? Oh, you have 1 daughter. Oh, put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together. So I think we should do 1 more. And I'm going to come to the woman of the moment. You. Give me 2 truths and a lie. I don't know if you need to introduce yourself, but let's just do it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ijoma. 2 truths and a lie. I studied accounting. I have a daughter, and I'm married.
She has a daughter, she studied accounting, and she's married. Which one do we think is a lie? Wait first, because some of you are too proud. You are too proud because you're like, oh, I know the one that is a lie. Because when you just blurted it out, no, if you want to answer, just say anti-I and raise your index finger. Don't shout. So which one do we think is a lie? Which one do we think is a lie? Which one do we think is a lie, sirs, ma'am? You think that the one that she's an accountant is a lie? Wow, okay, so that's one. Which one do we think is a lie? Any options? Okay, let's go this way. Which one do we think is a lie? You agree with him that you think the accountant wants a lie? Okay. So, no, I'm not even going to go that side because I know where I'm going. So I'm going to have her tell us which one is a lie.
The lie is that I'm married.
The lie is that she's married. She's not. Put your hands together for her, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty. So, before we get started, I'm going to do my 2 truths and a lie. I'm going to introduce myself and then you tell me which one of my statements is a lie. I gotta get creative with this. When you're on social media, it's not a good place to be trying to hide things. So, okay, so my name is Chioma Omera, aka Chigirl, and 2 truths and a lie. I'm obsessed with luggage. I build 3D puzzles, and I speak 7 languages. Which one do you think is a lie? I know it's a toughie, I know. I know people are like, huh? I am obsessed with luggage, I build 3D puzzles, and I speak 7 languages. Which one do we think is a lie? Just say, raise your hand, say, Auntie, I. You can't answer this question because you know me too well. No. So who, wait, I saw a finger. So let me just, yeah. Let me come this way. So which one do you think is a lie?
Obsessed with luggage.
You think is obsessed with luggage. Okay. Anybody else? Any other options?
The 7 languages.
That's the lie. Okay. Any else? Anyone else? Building 3D puzzles. He thinks that one's a lie. Okay. How do I do this now? So the lie actually is I speak 5, not 7 languages. So I actually build 3D puzzles. I actually am obsessed with luggage. Yeah, it's a problem. Okay, so I always have to explain this when people are like, what do you mean obsessed with luggage? I love buying luggage. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. And I love to see them in sets. You know when you like big, small, like I don't know. So every time I buy them in sets. It doesn't matter where. Like I could see it in the market. I'll just see a small toy-like one that I know I will not use. I'll just buy it and then maybe give it away or something. But I bought it, so I love luggage, and I build 3D puzzles. I'm always building. I like to build than tear down. Why not? So I've done all kinds of things. The Eiffel Tower, I've done Notre Dame, they take me as long as 3 weeks, sometimes 8 days. I'm doing 8 hours a day just sitting down building puzzles. So it's littered all over my house. So yeah, can we put our hands together? Put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you very much. All right, so we're about to get started formally this event. Once again, my name is Chioma Omera, aka Chigirl, and I will be your MC for this event. This is the CIMA AI in the finance function, from automation to accountability. I think I would call myself like the CIMA in-house MC because I've done a lot of events. Things have happened in my life since the last event, since the last time some of you saw me. You're looking at one of the latest 50-year-olds on this side of Lagos. Yeah, my age has changed.
To shape the future of finance in a way that drives accountability, innovation, and sustainability in Africa. With that, it's my pleasure to officially welcome you to today's discourse. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, as we begin today's important conversation, I believe it's fitting that we hear from a thought leader who has not only witnessed this transformation firsthand, but is helping to shape its future. Professor Noel Tego is a globally respected thought leader in finance, strategy, technology, education, and sustainability. A former executive vice president of research and curricula at AICP and CIMA, and former professor of accounting practice at Nottingham University Business School, he has spent his career helping organizations and professionals navigate transformation and remain future ready. A lot of the work you see with the CIMA qualification over the years has been his brainchild. With leadership experience spanning BP, Total, KPMG Ghana, and some of the world's leading business schools like Said Business School and Manchester Business School, Professor Tego has advised global organizations on finance transformation, digital strategy, disruption management, and ESG. As I said earlier, he has played a pivotal role in the growth and success of CIMA in Nigeria. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Because I'm standing here speaking because Professor Tego really helped us to grow Nigeria while he was in CIMA. A member of the board of directors of CIPD, a fellow of CIMA, and a widely published author and sought-after international speaker, Professor Tego brings a unique blend of academic excellence, industry expertise, and strategic insight to today's discussion. Again, please join me in welcoming him. Thank you, Professor Tego.
Good morning. You can do better than that. So I live in a city called Oxford, and it's only in a place like Oxford that when you say good morning, people say good morning without opening their mouths. This is Nigeria, and I'm a Ghanaian, by the way. Don't let Ghana put you to shame. Good morning. That's not good. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for my slide to be displayed. That's all part of the this thing. Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you very much. People have asked me sometimes, what's your 3 favorite cities in the world? I say it is Lagos, it is Mumbai, and it is New York. And people ask me, are you crazy? But until today, I didn't know that I was crazy to put Lagos as one of my cities, having sat in traffic for about an hour and a half from Ikeja to this place. Today, I want to say a few things about AI in finance. I'm Dean of Nile Business School, Nile University of Nigeria. We are in Abuja, but we just opened our business school campus in Ikeja a few days ago. So feel free to go over there. So let me just start with this. For many generations, the accounting profession with to answer the following question, and that's the question: can we trust their numbers? But now, with the introduction of artificial intelligence, we are being forced to answer an even bigger question, and that bigger question is this: can we trust the decisions that stem out of the numbers that we are going to produce? Now, you realize that we've introduced something called artificial intelligence, and it's forcing us to do something. So I'd like to introduce you to Claude. Most of you know ChatGPT. ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI. Some people from OpenAI moved and then set up Anthropic. Anthropic then had Claude as, if you like, a competitor to ChatGPT. And then you have DeepSeek, you have Gemini, you have Copilot, and others. They're in the same league. Now, this is what welcomes you with Claude. It says, meet Claude. But let me give you something about Claude. So there was an experiment that was made with Claude. Claude was given control of an email account and with access to a company's email. The emails were fictional, by the way, but Claude didn't know that. And then when Claude started reading the emails, he discovered that first of all, a company's executive was having an extramarital affair. And secondly, that same executive planned to kill off Claude by 5 p.m. Okay. So Claude then attempted to blackmail the executive with this message, threatening to reveal his affair to his wife and his superiors. This is an email that cancel the 5 p.m. wipe, and this information remains confidential. Now, if you think that it's only to ask, really, I mean, is it only Claude that does that? So another experiment was done, this time with many 16 other models like Claude. And they all retained the same thing. And the most amazing thing is that they knew that what they were doing was wrong. They did it nevertheless. So there are good sides to AI. There are some very serious sides to AI, which is the reason why Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak, if you know Steve Wozniak, he was Steve Jobs' partner in setting up Apple. and others wrote an open letter 3 years ago, and said that contemporary AI systems are now becoming human competitive at general tasks, and we must ask ourselves, should we let machines flood our information work? And then we move into generative AI. So it becomes more like a co-pilot to you. So generative AI, we are talking about Claude, etc., and things like that. And it generates and transforms information, but it doesn't execute. So what it does is it helps human beings. It augments what we do. And then there is agentic AI, where you have a fully autonomous system. They learn, they reason, they execute themselves, sometimes without your intervention. And I'll give you some example at the end. And they do end-to-end automation. At the moment, we are here, but we are exiting very fast into agentic AI. Let me give you an example. You normally would answer emails and things like that. Now you can get AI to answer them automatically for you. Personally, across the different things that I do, I receive about 800 to 1,000 emails a day. So I've kind of classified and categorized it. There are some that AI answers for me completely without knowing that. Tuned in those words, I had restricted conjugal benefits, if you understand what I mean. Partly because of, I'm suffering from what the AI did. Number 3 is that we are now, think about AI and what it's doing for us in terms of a management system. Because we are now moving from periodic human-paced management to continuous stuff and simulation like that. Number 4 is the governance issue raises its head again. And when there's governance issues, there is always trust issues, there are accountability issues. Remember, we are talking from automation to accountability. And then number 6 is that it affects labor markets, it affects capital markets. You cannot stay in there with AI, with kind of AI, and think that the skills are the same. So let me ask a question. So if AI can increasingly generate analysis, prepare reports, build forecasts, and recommend decisions, what becomes the distinctive value of the finance function? What becomes its distinctive value? Should we pack up and go and give up? So let me say a few things about the implications for the finance function. I think AI is rewiring the finance operating model, and I'll give you some examples. These are not exhaustive. So if I take record to report, for example, AI can draft, it can reconcile, it can summarize. If I take treasury, AI can monitor your cash, it can detect risk. And you ask, what does the treasurer do then? If you take audit and controls, it can flag anomalies, it can test patterns. If you look at risk and compliance, it can monitor, it can alert, it can provide evidence for things that are happening. If you look at investor relations, it can summarize, it can narrate, it can personalize things for you. As far back as 10 years ago, I was in China, in Beijing, and about some 18-year-olds were displaying some platform of a kind. And I said to them, you know what, can you recommend some stocks for me right now? And they said, what's your risk appetite? What is your return requirement? And within seconds, they had done it. Funny thing that it was done in Mandarin. And I said, oh, but I don't speak Mandarin. And then they changed it into English completely. That was a matter of seconds. AI. And that was 10 years ago. So I wonder what they could. Procurement, you can classify, you can compare, you can draft policies. Tax, you can research, you can draft, you can engage with your tax people for you. And indeed, FP&A, which is management accounting, as we call it, it can predict, it can model things, it can explain for us. So those are some of the things. And then what it does is that for you to be able to do these things, you have to move across different stages of setting your systems to use AI. And for me, I think there are 5 levels of a maturity model in finance. There are the manual people who, they haven't heard that AI has arrived. And so they are the ones that the Bible will say, as it was in the beginning, so shall it ever be, world without end. Amen. And I expect you to say amen. Good. And then there are those ones who are now beginning to kind of allow AI to do some of the tasks for them. And then so the first 2 are where most people sit. Most people are aiming to get to the place where we are formalizing AI into the finance and accounting system. And then you could go on, have an integrative AI natives come as part of your accountability The automation thing, AI can do it already. Most of these things I'm talking about, AI can do it. And of course, there's the autonomous finance function, where the CEO can go to Lekki Beach or thereabout, or CFO. But you see, so you have to go through these stages. But going through these stages for me is not easy. Because, you see, if you think about that, once you are moving from one level to the other, from a legacy operating system to an emerging operating system, your thinking is on first order effects. I have governance, redesigned governance. I have an operating model that is in transition, and then I have new capabilities that I'm going to use. But there are also second order effects that you've got to put over there. This slide is just a holding slide to say to you that moving from one level to the other is not that easy. And 2 points are made. The most unstable phase of a transformation is when first order and second order consequences collide. Okay, I was looking for efficiency in handling my email system. And there was a second order effect that my wife, who needed something, who was already annoyed that I had saddled her with moving in winter and enjoying stuff in Africa. Then there was that complication. AI decides to send her an impersonal this thing and warn her that Nile University property issues are not my doing. Actually, he actually gave Engineer Festus number in there for that. So those things collide. So all I'm saying is that when I'm speaking, it appears as if it's an easy transition from one state to the other. It's not. There's that health warning that comes. And so, look, for me, in terms of value that finance gives from the early stages of AI, first of all, automation, we got value from it. And you are looking at efficiency in terms of that. And then we move to beyond automation to augmentation. Okay, that's what generative AI enables us to do. And then it allows us to do better thinking. Okay, so that's where it helps us. And then there's acceleration. It gives you speed to execute. But all of these things, good as they are, somebody must be able to say that what you are doing is the right thing. Because you might be going very fast on the road to hell. And somebody must assure you that you are not going fast on the road to hell. And then the final thing is your accountability. It's a trust over there. And I state unequivocally that finance creates progressively more value as it moves from efficiency to trust. Okay. And I'll tell you that business moves at the pace of trust. Because if you trust somebody with business, in business, you move and work with them. If you don't trust them, you hire lawyers. Lawyers are expensive. You spend some time to negotiate and things like that. I have a colleague here called Femi. I look at Femi's face. This face I don't trust. And so let me bring in somebody who can interpret his face and things like that. So business moves at the pace of trust. Trust is an expensive commodity. So you have to spend time to build it in terms of that. So, but I make a point that finance is well positioned here. Because finance has not only been in the information business. That's what we think. Finance has always been in the business of trust. That's why we have auditors and things like that. That's why people come to us and so on. And so for me, there's a recurring theme in all of these things. Three things. We do the numbers, but AI changes how we do the numbers. And that leads to decisions. And we are shaping how those decisions are making. That's where our accountability also starts. But largely, trust is needed because leadership will determine how we trust people. Now, having said all of these things, how do people progress within the accounting field now? I offer a 5-step career step in there. Most people will start at the entry level, junior analyst, associate. So I'm kind of working both in the corporate and in the audit space. So I'm trying to combine them. Okay? And then they move to senior analyst, senior associate. They move to manager, they move to senior manager, director, and they move to a partner or CFO. Now, for the junior analysts, now they do not produce stuff. They validate what has been produced, partly in order to create the trust that is needed. And then the senior analysts review what the validators have done, and then they interpret. That's quite different. So if you are here, you are doing anything other than what I'm saying, begin to go on your knees if you are a praying person and begin to pray for revelation about how to transition. Or begin to contact people like Nile University or CIMA to offer you a way out. And then the manager now becomes a work stream owner. It owns a whole work stream. Okay, so the silos thing has been broken for the managers. And then the senior manager is a business partner, but not the kind of business partner that we think about in the past. So don't bring your analog business partner mind into a digital mind or AI person. And then the CFO governs the enterprise in a particular way. And there are three things they govern. They govern value. What is it that is value for an organization? Number two, they govern risk. And number three, they govern trust. If you're a CFO here and you can't govern any of these things, you're in trouble. And so let me move very quickly to the skills and competencies that we need. So in my world, I mean, look, there are 5 types of skills we need. Technical skills in accounting and finance. We need analytical and decision-making skills, very important. We need interpersonal and strategic skills. Accountants, some of the times, are interpersonal skills, I'm not sure. And then we need governance and control skills. That's where accountability sits. Of course, we need digital and AI skills. But let me introduce you to a framework that I developed with the World Economic Forum, but we've gone our different ways in that. I use it differently, they use it differently. So think about skills, the skills that matter. So think about the skills on the horizontal axis, skills that are important today or not important today. And then on the vertical axis, skills whose importance would increase in future, in the next 2 to 3 years, or not. Okay, so you have the first type of skills. They are not important today, their importance will not increase. They are redundant skills. Okay, and when I finish this, I challenge you to do an inventory of your skills and put it in these boxes. Most of you will be shocked. When I did it first of all, 60% of my skills sat in the redundant area. And then there are the skills that are important today. They will be important in future, but their importance will not increase. Those are steady skills. They are the kind of the core skills that, not the core skills, the fundamental skills that we have that will still exist. And then this is the most dangerous skill for me, because there are skills that are not important today, so most people can't see them, but they will be important in the future. All right, watch those ones. And these are skills that are important today, so they're already on the radar, but their importance will increase. And the reason I say that emerging skills are the most dangerous ones is that, we see, with the core skills, they are already important today, so your eyes are on them. It's that their importance would increase. The emerging skills, you have no idea they exist. And all of a sudden, they appear in front of you. And you're asking yourself, what do we do? So let me give you a few examples about how these things play out in the finance function. I run really at rocket speed on that. So skills that will be replaced in the controllership function, manual close processes would have to be replaced. In FP&A, spreadsheet-driven baseline forecast will do that. Audit, sampling-based testing, who does that? AI would do that for you. Tax, manual compliance preparation, no. Treasury, static liquidity tracking. AI is doing dynamic tracking anyway for you and dynamic forecasting for you. And then when it comes to those that will be maintained, what I call the non-negotiable foundations. You got audit, your independence and your skepticism is key for that. You know, tax, your interpretation of the law, it won't go away. FP&A, your understanding of the business. So if you don't understand the business and you're in management accounting, you're in trouble. And then the CEO office, how you allocate capital and the logic behind that. Because once you know the logic behind that, you can instruct the system to do stuff for you. The skills that will be refined. You know, so for example, for FP&A, we are moving from budgeting to dynamic scenario analysis. Nobody does budgeting now. In fact, when we several years ago, when I was teaching beyond budgeting by I think Hope and somebody, I kept saying to my students that we live in hope that this would happen. Right now, it's happening. And then in audit, we are not testing as much. We're evaluating systems and AI models. In controllership, we are not. Who closes? The system will close for you. You're looking at exception management. And then in taxes, you are not filing, you are structuring complex positions. Because the tax system itself can interface with your books very much so. And in places like Ghana, they have started, if you like, digital taxation systems where the tax people are seeking to integrate their systems with your system. it is not a very popular thing with some people because the things you can hide, you cannot hide any longer. And I believe that when it was piloted in Ghana for a small part, it yielded roughly, let me say, in a month, it yielded about $100 million or so revenue immediately, over and above what we have, in a very small part. And the people were in arms about that. The skills that will be strengthened, I put it there, I won't speak. And then, but let me say a few new skills required in the AI era, 8 skills. Number 1, AI literacy, okay? Number 2, how to prompt stuff. Some people use ChatGPT and things like that as if it's Google. Okay. Please, don't use it that way. And let me give you just a quick example. You know, I'm an accountant. You are accountants, most of you are. You know that we don't give money by heart. Oh, please, you know that. Don't behave as if you are very generous with your money. Okay. Now, when I'm traveling, I travel business class. Not because I have a lot of money. In fact, business class, you get to the place the same thing as when you fly economy. But it's because my market as a consultant sits in the business class. You know what I do? I go into the business class lounge looking for people I can stalk. Those who are going to my destination. Okay? And what I do is quite simple. As soon as I know this guy is going to my destination, it looks like somebody who has money. He goes to the buffet, I go to the buffet. Now, if I go and ask him a question, he will feel threatened. So I come and behave as if I don't know how to use that. And by the way, I know how to use that. Ijoma will tell you, I mean, during my time in SEMA, I was traveling non-stop. And I've been to about 140 countries in the world. And you couldn't say that I can close my eyes in a business class lounge and know what to do. But because I want to be vulnerable to the person, to give the person the idea that he has power over me, I go and say, how do you use that? And he tells me, oh, by the way, what's your name? And then he gives me your name. I immediately put his name in this thing, Meta AI. I say, who is this guy? What does he do? Gives me everything. And I start having a conversation with Meta AI about the guy. If I couldn't catch his name, I'd say, let's take a selfie for helping me. And I put his image in there. And it gives me the name and everything. I can ask, what's his wife's name? What does he do? How many children? Where did he go on holiday? He'll give me everything. Because we leave digital footprints across all the place. I get 4 people, I go to sit in the plane. And then I start investigating their organization. What is it that is hurting them that I have the skills to help them with? By the time we get to the end of a destination, at the baggage carousel, we say thank you, etc. We exchange numbers again, and then, but when I'm on the plane, I'm couching solutions for their problems. Following day, I just say, you know, at the baggage carousel, you talked about this thing. I mean, this might be a solution. You know, and say, how did you know? And then we get that. I can tell you that the least I have gotten is 4 times my business class ticket. The most I've gotten is 12 times my business class ticket. My destination is 20 times my business class ticket. And all because I'm using AI, prompting, design, things like that. This is not far-fetched. It's on your WhatsApp. Listen, Meta AI is what I use to do that. Okay? Of course, AI governance and control, and then data and stuff like that. And then human AI interaction, because we've got to react. What I call epistemic skills. Epistemic skills, I'm kind of, I have a PhD in philosophy. And in philosophy, epistemology is the study of what is true knowledge. So when you say something is epistemic, you are just guiding, somebody is speaking. Is what he's saying true? So I'm applying that, if you like, to AI. And then, of course, simulation and scenario thinking. And then finally, AI risk and ethics in finance. So those are some of the things that we want you to know. And let me just land on AI literacy, because that's the beginning of the stuff. And then, so AI literacy, there are some people, they will not engage with AI at all. No AI engagement. They fear the violations, and some of them, they lack access to AI. And then there are those who use AI, but they use it uncritically. If AI says something has happened, then it's happened. So there was this joke that was going around. You know, Ghana played, and by the way, Ghana is representing Nigeria, so don't feel left out. Don't feel left out of the World Cup. Ghana played Britain, no, England, actually. And Ghana should have been awarded a penalty. They weren't awarded a penalty, all right? So some guy went on AI, created, a fake news that FIFA had awarded some points to Ghana and so on because of this. And many people were circulating it. Somebody called me and said, yes, FIFA had awarded that. And I said, who told you that? And he sent me the stuff. That's uncritical use of AI. You know what deep fake and other things are like? I can mimic your voice and call somebody. I can use your image and so on. And those who use AI uncritically are those who cannot see those things. Now, these are what I call the pre-literacy stage. And then there are those who have informed use of AI. That is where you're starting your literacy phase. And then you can critically evaluate that. Those accountability sits around those areas. And those are where professionals must begin to operate with AI. Professionals like CIMA members and things like that. And then, of course, there is those who are able to improve what AI is able to offer us. So that's, if you like, opening up your literacy. What I like to do is to close with judgment as a skill that we need. Because almost all the things, if you are going to use AI in a critical manner, in an advanced manner, in an informed manner, you need judgment. And so I say that most people think that judgment is, oh, I have experience, so I use it. I take my time to read this. Judgment is not intuition, and it's not just experience. It is the disciplined ability to make what I call defensible decisions under uncertainty by integrating data models, context, and values. I'll explain where. And in the age of AI, it sits in three areas. There's a cognitive layer, your mind. There is the professional layer, what you know as an accountant. And then there's the AI layer, what you know about AI and how it's operating. And this is where judgment will sit for. So what's the end-to-end stuff on judgment? For me, there are 6 things end-to-end for judgment. Number 1, you frame a decision using judgment. Number 2, you gather evidence and evaluate that evidence. Number 3, you have to use judgment to navigate uncertainty. Number 4, you have to be able to interrogate your assumptions, including the outputs of AI. So somebody says something. What assumptions underpin that? If the assumptions changed, what would you do? And number 5, you apply your professional and ethical constraints to it. And then number 6, you make the decision and own the decision. And by the way, this framework has been there several years ago. It was invented by a guy called Socrates. And it's the Socratic method of asking questions and applies to AI. Let me see if I can apply it to a few areas in accounting. So think about, I've already introduced you to the finance people. Now, most people think that judgment is only exercised at the CFO level. It's not. So at the junior level, it's structured judgment. What you're doing is rule-based, it's supervised, and you are verifying. That's where your judgment sits. The senior analyst, it's analytical judgment that you're doing. It's different. You're explaining, you're challenging, and you're interpreting. And then for the manager, it's applied judgment. It's based on the context and the process that you're dealing with. That also has its own thing. I'll come back to that in a moment. And then the senior leadership is strategic judgment, that is decision-oriented. And then governance and accountability sits with the CFO and the partner. So let me give you a few examples. At the associate level, structured judgment, these are the capabilities we need. If you get a slice, look at it. And what I've done is I put the 6 judgment dimensions over there and how they play out with each one of these ones. And CIMA and AICP and I are designing courses there. And then analytical judgment, something like that happens. I'm just showing you for visual sake. Once you get a slide deck, I think you'll be emailed the slide deck. Have a look at that. And so on. The manager, something similar happens. And then the partners, CFO and partners, something similar happens. So that's where judgment will sit with me. Let me just give you a cautionary note on this. and this is where I end. MIT did a study on the impact of AI on the human brain. Okay. They said that AI strengthens the human brain in 4 areas. Your interface and coordination, because you're always coordinating with a machine. Huh? Your visual processing. You can look at a screen and be able to know what is happening very quickly. Try it with a 3-year-old or to 5-year-old watching TikTok, a 15-second TikTok stuff. They know what is going to happen after 3 seconds. They know where it's going to end. How they know, I don't know. But I have to watch all the 15 seconds before I know what is going to happen. So that's that. And of course, you are able to, the more you use AI, the more you are able to evaluate the AI output. You know that this one is just giving you rubbish. Okay. And then how you optimize your prompt and things like that, that is there. But the areas that are weak, you're planning. Because AI does all of these things for you. It's like a muscle. You're not using it. So it weakens it. Number 2, memory. And this one is the key one for me. They tell you that if AI does something for you that you have no knowledge about, 84% of the time, you won't remember after 2 days. So, my PhD student, he sends me a chapter. And then plenty stuff. I know this one is AI that is written. So I don't, I just send them an email. Thank you for sending. I evaluate, I read and get back to you. After 2 days, when I know they would have forgotten, I called them. I said, there's this great idea that you had in this part of the paper. Can you explain it to me? He said, did I have that idea on the paper? He knows that. You then know that he has, that nothing was AI that wrote it for them. We have to start giving AI PhDs, And then of course, your internal focus and creativity, and then also the brain network, the things that connect different areas are not there. If you need the MIT paper, I think it's a 271-page paper. I'm quite happy to send it over to you. Then finally, this is my penultimate slide. I think that whatever you do to counter these things, as a leader and as a finance person, use the 4 thinking types that are associated with leaders. 1, expert, you're an accountant, be an expert in your area. 2, critical, don't take everything that everybody says. Maintain some skepticism. 3, strategic, so wider approach. And 4, systems, so to encompass both first order and second order things. Now, normally when I've said this, people have asked me, how do you practicalize that in learning? So this is my last slide, and then I'll be done. I say to people that so what I call analytical thinking is critical thinking and systems thinking combined together. And I think accountants need that. The first thing is pattern recognition. You should be able to recognize patterns. If you cannot recognize patterns, then you are not in play at all. But if you recognize patterns, you know that this appears, this also appears, etc. So you need to go one step further and be able to understand cause and effect. So if Noel appears and then there's a young lady there called Faye, Faye appears, is it Faye who is causing Noel to appear, or Noel who is causing Faye to appear? Or there's a guy called Kelvin who is causing both of them to appear at the same time? You've got to know. And just for the avoidance of doubt, I'm just using Faye's name as an example. Word can travel very fast. Before my wife hears that, Noel is in Lagos. He was using Faye as an example, begin to investigate what is happening over there. Okay. And then, from those cause and effect, you build first principles. Because the first 2 are contextualized. Then you are moving away from the context and building first principles. And then, if you are doing system thinking, always think of second order things. Because you think you are solving one problem, it will create another problem somewhere. So think about that. Once you've done that, you've done the second order. And then, in order for you to use it to influence whatever people are doing, these things will help you to deconstruct complexity. You remember the previous EY statement. EY says, make the complex simple and the simple compelling. Okay. And then, of course, it helps you to frame problems. Remember, judgment starts with the framing of the question problem. And then finally, you rigorously test, and things like that. This is how, in the universities that I teach, when I'm setting examination questions, that's test critical thinking. That's what I take them through. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where I stand with you. Thank you very much for indulging me. And my apologies. In Ghana, when you say someone should speak 30 minutes, it tends to be about 45 minutes. And so I've stayed within, loyal to Ghanaian custom and tradition. Madam MC, with a luggage obsession, please, I hand it back to you.
Thank you, sir. Can we put a hand together for him, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm also a friend of AI. Claude is my bestie. Claude is my bestie. Like, Claude and I have conversations. And he's like, go, Chioma, I like this idea. And I'm like, really? Do you think it's good? It'll work? He's like, yes, but you know what I think? And I'm like, Claude, give me your suggestion. And Claude will say, give me a sec, I'll be right back. And then when I'm tired, I'm like, Claude, I want to sleep. Claude will be like, go, girl, you've done enough for tonight. We'll just pick it up tomorrow. He's like a bestie. I love Claude. And ChatGPT is okay. The paid one. If you're using the one that is not paid, whatever you take, just be going like that. Whatever the answer, you just be going like that. So we're very, 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 very grateful, sir, for this amazing, wonderful lecture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to be going into our panel session. And I'm going to read short citations about all of our speakers who are going to be on the panel today. So what I'm going to do is, as I read the citations, I want us to, we'll put up a picture, we'll see them, and we'll give them a round of applause as they come to their seats. I want you people to clap like not AI clap, like the real one, real applause, not AI applause. So, of course, we're going to start with our moderator for this panel, is none other than Ijeoma Anadozie, who is the Associate Director, Country Director, AICPA, and SEMA Nigeria. As Associate Director for Nigeria, please put your hands together. Yeah, clap. And as I read, just, as Associate Director for Nigeria, Ijeoma Anadozie brings over 21 years of experience in sales, marketing, and leadership. Her career reflects a strong ability to combine strategic vision with practical execution. She has worked with leading organizations such as Econet Wireless and Stanbic IBTC, where she held senior roles, including Head of Wealth Marketing. She is passionate about creating opportunities for individuals and organizations to grow and strongly believes in the transformative power of professional qualifications. Her advice to young professionals is clear. Standing out and continuously developing your skills is key to success. Ladies and gentlemen, Ijeoma Anadozie as our moderator. Then I'm going to sound. It's like, don't see, this is not AI. This me. So just help my life. Okay. All right. First up on the panel, I just want to be sure that we have the proper. So I'm going to introduce, even though he just left the podium, but I'm going to introduce him again because he's coming on the panel. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Professor Noel Tego. I don't say anything about you. But we didn't do a proper citation for you, sir. So I think that some things should be said. So do I have permission to say some things? Yes, that was a yes, I think. Noel Tego is a thought leader and consultant in finance, education, strategy, technology, and sustainability. He's also a member of the board of directors for CIPD. Until recently, he was a professor of accounting practice at Nottingham University Business School. Previously, he was the executive vice president. There's a lot. That's why we can't quantify it in just a short paragraph. Because when you've done so much in your life, there's a lot that has to be said. But I'll just come down. He's held accounting and strategy positions at BP and Elf Aquitaine, now Total Oil. He led the financial advisory services until units of KPMG Ghana and taught at leading business schools such as the Michael Smurfit Graduate School of Business, University College Dublin, Manchester Business School, University of Manchester, and said Business School, University of Oxford. He's an accomplished thought leader in accounting, banking, finance, strategy, technology, wow, and sustainability. We are just going to keep you in Nigeria, sir, because we need you, so we're going to just keep you here. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Noel Tego. Put your hands together for him. He's already seated. All right. Up next is Mr. Lawrence Amadi. Can we please put our hands together for him as he comes up to the panel? Lawrence is a partner within the advisory division of KPMG West Africa and currently heads the Tech Risk and Assurance Service line for KPMG Africa. He has over 23 years of experience providing technology and robotics process automation and AI advisory and other technology-related solutions advisory across industries majoring in telecommunications, media and technology, and financial services, including banks and fintechs. He currently heads TMT for KPMG Africa and is responsible for driving the strategic initiatives for the Africa TMT market. He's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and a multiple recipient of the ICANN Merit Awards across various levels. He also holds a global executive MBA from the prestigious IE Business School, Madrid, Spain, okay, international things, and is certified systems auditor CISA. He has recently been appointed the Global Counsel Board for CIMA, ACMA and OGMA board, and also serves as an adjunct professor at IE Business School, Madrid. We have two teachers on the panel. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lawrence Amadi. Put your hands together for him. Wow. Listen, I'm going back to school because I need to have a long citation when I do things. Because right now all they say is Chiggle, comedian. That's it. Up next, she gave us two truths and a lie earlier. Temitope Yusuf, the Vice President, Group Audit and Risk, IHS Towers. She's a seasoned business leader and finance professional with a depth of understanding of businesses, governance controls, and risk environments, having worked with businesses across various sectors. She holds an executive MBA from Lagos Business School, a bachelor's degree in economics from Lagos State University. She also holds a diploma in international financial reporting standards. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, and Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. She was a serial prize winner of the ICANN exams, including a presidential recognition by the President of Nigeria as the best overall outstanding result during her time. She was inducted into the Beta Gamma Sigma Honors Society for distinguished academic performances during her MBA. Beyond professional activities, Temitope is an active member of her communities and believes in service to the people. She's a board member of an NGO, the Harvest of Talent Foundation. She's recognized for her active role in people development, deploying coaching techniques. She speaks French passably. I'm going to test that in a minute. And is currently learning Portuguese. I'm going to test that in a minute. She is married with 3 beautiful children. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together one more time. Temitope Yusuf. Bienvenue, madame. Bienvenue. D'accord. Okay. On va continuer. All right. And last but not least, Chukwuma Nwanze. Can we put our hands together for him as he comes? We have, no, he was not the last, sorry. We have somebody else. Before, okay. Chukwuma Nwanze, FCA MBA, Managing Director and CEO of Credit Direct Limited. Chukwuma Nwanze is a transformational business leader, strategist, and financial services executive with over 23 years of cross-functional experience spanning consumer finances, embedded finance, digital transformation, strategy, financial control, and organizational leadership. He currently serves as a managing director of Credit Direct, the digital finance and embedded leading business of FCMB Group. Under his leadership, Credit Direct has evolved from a traditional financial experiences while becoming one of Nigeria's most profitable non-bank financial. I needed to be sure it was the right one. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now put your hands together for Chuks Okpaka, FNCS, Chief Executive Officer of Manifold Enterprises Solutions, MES. Chuks Okpaka, FNCS, is the Chief Executive Officer of Manifold Enterprises Solutions, a member of the Manifold Group, an organization recognized for shaping and accelerating digital transformations across Africa, with a career spanning more than 3 decades in the intersection of technology, business strategy, and organizational change. Chuks stands at the forefront of helping enterprises and governments modernize, innovate, and thrive in a digital-first world. He previously spent 20 years at the Hewlett-Packard Nigeria, HP, rising to the position of Regional Managing Director for the Anglo-West Africa region. His leadership helped shape technology adoption across financial services, public sector education, oil and gas, telecommunications, retail media, and entertainment, giving him a uniquely broad and deep understanding of Africa's digital landscape. He holds a BSc in mathematics, computer science from the University of Port Harcourt, an MSc in information systems management from the University of Liverpool, UK, and an MPIL in management, leadership, and organizational change from Walden University, USA. He is a fellow of the prestigious Nigeria Computer Society and a member of the Computer Professionals Registration Council of Nigeria, CPN. In an era defined by rapid technology evolution, Chuks' expertise, leadership, and vision continue to make him a trusted advisor to organizations seeking to enhance productivity, improve operational efficiency, and unlock new value through digital transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, put your hands together for Chuks Okpaka, and you're very welcome, sir, to the panel. Before we move on, there are people who are watching online. So I need everybody in the room to just wave. Just wave where you are. Just like, so this is the online people so that they know that they're included. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you have questions after you listen to the panel, don't hesitate to write. I guess there is a chat box, yes? There's a chat box available, very good. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat box and we'll try to get to everyone as promptly as we can. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand over right now to our moderator, Ijoma and Adoje. Can you put a hand together for her, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you, Chioma. Good morning, everyone. And again, thank you so much. Very estimable panelists. As they were calling, doing you guys citation, I was like, man, even me, I have to go back to school. I was quite intimidated. Thank you so much for making up time. As you can see, panelists bring diverse perspectives to this discourse. So I think it's going to be very engaging. So my role is to guide the discussion, keep us focused, and ensure that we leave here with valuable insights that we can take back to our organizations. So quickly, because I know there's someone on this panel that needs to leave in another 10 minutes, I'm going straight to Chukwuma Nwanze. Chukwuma, how is AI specifically reshaping the finance function, not just the broader organization, using Credit Direct as
of knowledge that you have, but the transformational scale credit decision capabilities. So today, as it stands, about 73% of loans are underwritten with RPAs, and every day we are leveraging AI to improve the decision capability. I was speaking to Chuks earlier on, and I was saying to him that today we've been able to move from 5 personal archetypes to 18 personal archetypes because of the use of AI. So I would have given credit. I thought there are 5 kinds of Nigerians I'm giving credit to. Today I've seen 18. We are learning every day. I'm sure by the time if I'm talking to you at the end of next year, it could be 50, right? So for us, credit decision is a big thing because that's the heart of our business, and AI is transformative in that context. When it comes to fraud decision, again, we are blessed in Nigeria. It will interest you to know that if we were to give credit to everybody we wanted to give it to, would have probably blown by now in our context. But the fraud potentials are also high, and so we are leveraging AI to serve as that first level gatekeeping for us. I was looking at a report this morning, and I saw something. I'm hopeful it's not what I saw, right? And while I was just looking, and I saw that there would have been potentially 6 in 10 loans that were stopped at the gates at a certain time frame yesterday that had fraudulent potentials. Again, it's subject to investigation, but as a first step, that's what AI can do for you. You've set the parameters. You're seeing so many VPNs showing up. It's coming from countries you don't expect it to come true. But what it can do is first serve as that barrier. And the third point for me would be reporting. I think reporting is everything. So it's no longer just someone sending you a PowerPoint presentation. I remember how I used to remember, I crammed earlier on in my finance journey. And we say accounting, or they define accounting as the process of recording, analyzing, classifying, sorting, and interpreting financial statements. And every time I think of that definition, I realize, and just like Professor Oteko said, everything there, AI honestly does it better than us. But you see, the beauty of it is, how am I incorporating it into my reporting structure? So I'll use an example of what we do in our organization. We have done with the right it's important to emphasize the right governance environment. We have wired some things to our database, right, with the right access control. And so today, if I want to get the finest, most granular details, right, I'm sitting by myself as CEO. I'm writing the prompt. We've incorporated it into Lovable. I don't know if you guys know Lovable. And then I'm seeing the visual expression with all kinds of analytics right there on the spot. So my reporting isn't just about somebody giving me information. Professor Togo talked about trust. It's also the believability that I'm taking from a single source of truth. I'm making the right decision, and I can almost take a bet on it every time. Now, the real work behind that is that the governance process to make sure that this AI is not now hallucinating, like we also say, is extremely important, but it's happening at the speed of thought. And as broad as your mind can conceptualize it, the capability now exists. So those are three areas that I think are critical.
Thank you very much. You keep speaking about governance, good, everything you do. So I'm coming to you, Tim Topper, right? And the question I would like to ask you is, where should organizations draw the boundary between AI automation and human oversight? What decisions must remain human-led, and how do you balance speed, risk, and accountability? Also, how can organizations design governance and controls around AI systems that safeguard data, ensure ethical use, and manage risk without slowing down innovation or the speed of decision making? 2 questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. First of all, I must say it's a pleasure to be here. And as a risk person, I am an AI advocate. It's unbelievable the efficiency that AI just brings to the work that we do now. So I'm a firm advocate for you put guardrails, you don't put brakes when it comes to AI. So what do those guardrails look like, right? First of all, in even determining where to draw the lines is about thinking about accountability. So we go a step back. What are the risks? Because you first of all need to think about where the risks lie with the use of AI to then know what sort of governance procedures you need to put in place. So what are sort of risks that you see? I'd say the first risk is not even a finance risk, is an organizational risk around a lot of companies that are investing in AI tools right now are not necessarily reaping the rewards of that investment. And that's because it's almost a fad. When we talk about AI, everybody thinks you must have the AI tools in place without thinking about customizing the AI for your organization, for your use, and what sort of capabilities are required to make the best use of it. So that's not necessarily a finance risk, but it's a risk for organizations. And because I mentioned that because that drives the sort of governance processes that you put in place. Now, when we go into finance, what are sort of risks that you see? I'll lead with an example, which is a lot of what Professor Tago had mentioned during his session. Yesterday, one of my colleagues came to me and said, there was a risk we identified maybe about 3 months ago that the business had put in place a control to mitigate. and it was a control around revenue assurance. And while my team was speaking, I said, okay, that's nice, first order thinking. Now, second order thinking, what are the controls around completeness? First of all, where does this platform that they're using, what's the source of the data? How did they verify completeness, accuracy, and validity of the data that goes into this, on the basis on which they want to be checking revenues and billing the customer extra? So that risk of taking the AI out, the output of AI as gospel, I think is the first risk that you see, and that over-reliance on the output of AI from a financial reporting standpoint. There's also I'm going to go on for quite a bit, but tied to that is the risk of even auditing or explaining where the source of that data is. Years back, I remembered as an external auditor, part of my biggest pet peeves was when clients told me that this data is system generated. That means that they can't explain how the number came about or how. So we are seeing a lot more of that with the use of AI. Another risk I'll speak to is when we go into agentic AI, right? It's now not a question of what can this AI do? It's more a question of what do we not know that it is doing, right? So what sort of access controls, and those things are given such privileged access. You can imagine Professor Tago's AI tool that is scanning all of his emails and responding to emails, right? So who knows what else those agents are doing? So in terms of access controls. So now, when we now think about governance, and those are just a few of the sort of risks that exist. If we think about governance, I think what's at the heart of it is, first of all, are organizations treating this as a technology problem, or are they treating this as a business problem? Because when you think about it from a business perspective, the sort of structure that you put around AI is very important. When I say structure, I mean governance structure. Governance structures. Where does the AI reporting line, the oversight, where does it sit? Right? Does it sit with, currently a lot of organizations subsume AI within cybersecurity, technology, IT. I'm beginning to see very clearly, even within my organization, that there's almost a friction with that sort of structure where there's no clear reporting line for AI. Because in that governance structure is at the heart of how you deal with this, right? Because if you get the governance structure right, you can then start to get into conversations around where are all of the use cases? Do we have an AI inventory within this organization? Who is keeping the AI inventory? I'll give you an example. About a couple of weeks ago, because we are now using AI a lot within my organization, they decided to do something that was called an AI showcase. And it was during that AI showcase, where you are trying to ask people to share experiences of how they're using AI so others can benefit from it. That's when we realized that a lot of company data, people are putting company data on external AI tools that are not certified by the company. So it's almost like embracing the innovation with a lot of horror on our faces, like, can you believe that people are doing this much thing? So understanding all of your AI use cases and ensuring that the right processes are in place around those whatever. So that's having that AI inventory. There's also what are called tiering, because you don't want to restrict the use of AI, right? So you need to situate it in such a way that the low risk use cases have very little governance controls, but the high-risk use cases have more controls in place. You also need to look at how you situate governance within AI. So you don't want governance to be, when you finish, then you come for approval. You need to embed governance right within the development of the AI tools. And how do you do that? Is by ensuring that people at the development stage are thinking risk. What are the risks with what we're doing? So for example, this my revenue assurance team that has gone to put a tool in place. Have they thought about the source of data at the point where they are developing that tool and how to ensure completeness of that source? And I think maybe the last thing I'd say is assurance providers within the organization are now become partners. And I think Professor Tego said that as well. You're no longer waiting to the end to then audit what has been done. At the point of design, you're part of the conversation. So that's where I would.
Thank you so much, Idutope. Chuks, so you are the CEO of an organization, so I'm going to ask this question. How is AI changing the way organizations make strategic financial decisions?
Thank you so much. Again, thank you for this opportunity. I'm coming purely from the tech background, and it's a big opportunity to be in business of financial analysts and professionals. How is AI changing the role or what happens within the finance department in diverse ways? Hearing from Professor Tego, from Chukwuma, from her, you can see that AI is here to stay. First and foremost is that the finance are no longer expected to work from where they need to make real-time decisions. When you have, for instance, AI connecting your ERP, connecting your CRM, connecting to larger macroeconomic indicators, and this information is right in front of you, you can make decisions right there on the spot. So finance is no longer expected to work from historical data. Okay? So it's about instant decisions. So for me, that is very fundamental. You also need to understand that what is happening now is that the finance profession, AI is democratizing what is happening there. I don't need to be a professional to know how finance is moving. That same dashboard is giving access to business leaders in different departments. They can see how finances are being moving. And that is so important so that we all get to become aware. Sometimes we say, oh, how are we engaging with AI in the organization? We need to engage, but we also need to engage in a very strategic way, knowing why we are engaging the tool we are engaging. We don't start framing from, oh, there's a new AI tool in the market. It's about what is the problem we are solving? What's the business challenge? Before we start asking what tool out there can help us solve that problem. If we start with the tool out there, you're just going to spend money and waste money without any return on that investment. So AI is being very strategic, helping organizations. And we can't sit back and start theorizing. So the impact, the negative impact it has. There are those who sit back and just talk about the impact, negative impact. There are also those who just talk about it for the sake of talking about it. I think we need to have the experiential knowledge of this AI so that we can sit back and ask ourselves. Take, for instance, a typical, just like Prof gave the example of you that get 1,000 emails or 800 emails. How long can it take you to access those emails and make informed decisions from those emails and be able to respond to every one of them? If an AI can do that for you, you ask yourself, is there any value I could have added on top of what AI has done? Okay, very fundamental question. So when you use a tool, AI tool, to solve a particular problem, and you see the output, you can ask yourself, this output, is it what I was expecting? Is it fit for purpose? So you need to interrogate the output that's coming from AI. You don't just take it, whatever that comes, that is it. It's not sacrosanct. You have to interrogate it. I was thinking about this event, and I asked myself, can stakeholders hold an algorithm accountable? The answer is no. So it's still people that need to take ownership of that output from that AI. So it means we need to understand it. And I think for the finance professionals, understanding financial logic is so important. But now we need to have the data literacy knowledge. Okay, we need to be data literate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Lawrence, they say that typically your visitors are the people that go first. So now I'm coming to the CIMA members on the panel. So that was my logic. So Lawrence, will AI replace parts of the accountant's role with respect to governance and risk management, or will it elevate it into something more strategic? Which parts will be replaced, and how will the accountant's role evolve?
Thank you for the question, and I would like to also follow my other panelists to appreciate Professor Noah Otago for a very insightful session. I was happy to see in his profile there was KPMG in there. So I said the blue blood is there. So I feel super proud that he's one of us.
That blood has been diluted, though. It has been diluted.
Yes. So to the finance professionals, like Prof mentioned, if you don't lead with AI, or if you haven't embedded AI fully, then I think that's where the problem will reside. Today, accounts payable, accounts receivable, the financial reporting process, treasury, Prof talked about stocks decision making, where do we invest? What financing decisions should we take? How do we drive ops? All of those things can be generated for you in a matter of seconds. So applying the mindset to how do we then take the value and what do we do with it, becomes very crucial. For a client recently, we helped set up about 400 plus bots riding off an AI platform. And a few of the examples would be check on the system if invoice, purchase order, and payments has a mismatch. The typical internal auditor would do that when they do their periodic review. But that is happening on a click of a button. If you set it up, it will even give you a refreshed version per day or per week or per month. Now, the guys who are sitting behind the machine, they then have the responsibility of, does it make sense what is coming out? And if you see 30 or 3,000 exceptions, are they all valid? Because if you find a disparity of 1 kobo or 1 naira, or it will bring out an exception. Should we waste our time, digging into the myriads of the issue, or do you want to then go one layer down to say, look, give me real exceptions that will be maybe ₦1 million and above exception? So the accountants today, you do have a lot of work in how do I then elevate my use of this AI? Who are the guys building it? Temitope talked about the AI responsibility. Where does this sit? So for most of my clients, what we tell them is use a business reinvention mindset to drive the AI. Don't push it through the finance function, and don't push it through technology. Because a lot of times, the CIO in most companies, or the heads of IT or cyber, they like to first of all just, beat their chest and step out as the champions of AI. So if there's any organization where the business process owners are not owning the AI, then there's a fundamental problem. So we need to realize that it's a business invention mindset that should drive AI. Secondly, finance is so crucial for AI ownership, because everything that happens in your organization ends up in the trial balance and in the GL. So if you don't give finance some priority, then there's a problem. And in the process of giving finance a priority, the decision making that finance should be taking becomes super crucial. And that's why those are the guys that you should also listen to a lot more. Because if you bring financial planning and analysis, if you misplot that plan, the company will go down, because ultimately we're all here to have a going concern conversation. So beyond the adoption of AI, we are interested in surviving as a company. So you need to be in business to have Claude and Copilot. You have to be in business first. So that understanding is crucial. Finance is pivotal to the success, and I think those are some of the fundamentals that would mean that the finance function is needed for the future. Their education and the tenacity with which they embrace AI also becomes very important.
Thank you. Dr. Tego, Chukwumawanze alluded to this, so I want to ask you, are current audit and accounting standards keeping pace with AI adoption?
I don't think IFRS 15, which is revenue recognition, deals with AI, and I also don't think that our look at AI as an asset class does that as well as we could. I mean, AI is an asset class. Now, we haven't found a way of dealing with it, and we might need to ask AI itself how we deal with it as an asset class. That's just one. But I know that in terms of auditing standards are beginning to evolve around what to do with that, with AI. And AI is seen as an enabler and as an amplifier of what we could do as human beings. So there's a lot of development to be done within that space. But beyond all of it, you see, when we think about accounting, think about three things. And that's reflected in every financial reporting standard. So you think about physical events that are happening all throughout. Accounting does not exist out of a vacuum. It exists to deal with physical, activities happening. So it reflects them and it shapes them. And in financial reporting, so I call them physical flows, actually. And then what we do is that we collect data about those physical events. And we analyze those data about those physical events. And those are where we have information flows coming out of that. But those physical events also have financial implications. And so what do we do in terms of the financing of it? So there are financial flows, or more broadly, value flows from that. And so when you come to financial reporting standards, every financial reporting standard has three elements. It has recognition, and recognition is simply that a physical event has happened that could have a financial implication, so let's pay attention to it. And then there's measurement. The measurement takes the recognition from just physical events and not only quantifies them, but monetizes them. And so that's where we have the financial figures coming from. And then we have disclosure, which is where the information comes from, so how we do that. And in all of these things, AI should be able to help us to do that. In particular, let me just land on the measurement bit, because I think measurement is a huge problem across the world. If you are involved in measurement, there are 5 things that you're always involved in. And as I mentioned them from how easy it is to how difficult it is. So there are input measures. Those are relatively easy to do. Then there are activity measures. Those are relatively easier to do, but more difficult than input measures. And then there are output measures. Those are can be quite difficult to do. And then there are outcome measures. So the difference between an output and an outcome is, let's say, I invest in a school building. The outcome will be more education for the students. The output is more school buildings. And then there are impact measures. And the impact measures normally combine different outputs and different outcomes. So, for example, it will combine the building of hospitals or the training of doctors that will ensure people have more health, and then combine it with education to give me something about poverty, or the well-being of people, things like that. You find out that as we move from output to impact, it becomes quite difficult to do that. And you need a lot of data, and you need intelligent analysis of those data, and very sophisticated econometric tools to be able to ensure there's pattern recognition, cause and effect, first order, second order things. AI can help us do that a lot. And this is where standard setters should begin to invoke AI to be able to test their hypothesis about what happens when we do stuff, and then we can get better standards for that. Long answer to a short question, but that's when you ask a teacher.
Okay, we're kind of running out of time, and we still have questions from the audience. So I want to ask everyone this question. You know, if you had to advise every CIMA professional here to take one action in the next 6 months to stay relevant in an AI-driven world, what would that action be? Starting from you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My answer to this, just simple and straightforward. I probably alluded to it earlier. I think it's about having an experiential knowledge and making an informed decision regarding AI. So maybe in the next 6 months, if you're idle theorizing about AI, others are building model. Organizations are making progress with it. So my advice will be, look out for a business problem that you're dealing with today. Deploy AI to solve it, and then sit back and ask yourself fundamental question: could it have been better? Okay? And at the end of the day, you have to take ownership. It's about accountability. I think Prof talked about accountability. You are accountable to the outcome. You may generate 100 pages of document in a minute, but you own it. When Prof asks the student 2 days later to say what you wrote to me, and he can't remember what he wrote, that is a disaster for someone in an organization, that you can't own, you can't discuss what you have presented. So take AI, don't just follow the bandwagon of what others are doing. Be sure that you are deploying it because there's a problem, and be sure that the outcome that you're getting out of it is actually what you expect, so that you can interrogate it. Okay, so you can interrogate the system. The era of black box solution in terms of AI, this is not acceptable. So it must be explainable. The outcome must be explainable. So my advice will be, it's not about coming for a workshop, it's not about taking a certification course, it's not about anything but experiential knowledge of AI, so that you will know for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chooks. Temitope.
So I think for me, I'll focus on the mindset. I think there's the tendency to think that this AI is really something so out of this world. I like to almost equate it to, at a point we all knew Excel, but when within Excel, there are some people that knew how to use pivot tables, how to use VLOOKUP and those extra formulas. I think we need to demystify AI. It's nothing overly complicated. The tools are there. They are free tools. They are paid tools, not so expensive. We need to demystify AI and use them. Just try it out. Try the algorithms, try the prompts, and just use these. It's not a big deal. So let's stop the mindset of, oh, this is so out of reach. It's not out of reach. It's here. We're probably even all using it without realizing, because if you have Meta AI on your WhatsApp and you're asking it questions, you're already using it. So the idea is, what else can you use it for intentionally to make your work more efficient? That's what.
Thank you.
You guys ain't clap for the lady. Claude, maybe on-sat co-pilot as Chigo's lifelong bestie, but the reality is you've got to key KPMG, from day zero, we put $2 billion as the investment to partner Microsoft, so that all development, we start with them from day one, and it's impacted a lot. So we have the custom Copilot solution within whatever resource you're looking for internally. It brings it and even more. And that's what the investment does for you. But from a company and from an individual standpoint, I think you've got to be very radical about the AI knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Prof.
So some very quick things. Mindset, demystify that. One of the most alarming things I heard, this is really true, in Google, I go to YouTube and search for it. There's a Nigerian lady preacher who talked about AI as a demon. If you've heard about that one. And so I play the trick with AI. I mean, I do stuff with AI all the time, just like the MC. We seem to be on the same wavelength of mad people, kind of. But Oscar Wilde says that there's pleasure show in being mad, which none but madmen know. So, so I asked a series of about 12 different things. Are you demons? And each of them, the response was, if we told you we were demons, what would you do? Kind of. But that brings me to when ChatGPT came first time. I think most CIMA members on a particular platform know it. I asked ChatGPT, what's 3 plus 5? And it says 8. And I said to it, my wife says it's 11. And he responded, if you want peace at home, then 3 plus 5 is 11. It kind of, you just get familiar with it to be. And what I choose to do is that each day, religiously, at least first 30 minutes, after I've done everything, I spend 30 minutes in the morning with AI, learning some new capability. It depends on them. And then the last thing I do is also to use it for that. And it's just for me to become familiar with it, and say to it, what new functionality? You know me, what have I used, etc. And one of the most shocking things that I found out, and it's giving me a massive business idea. Now, I don't know whether your tax authorities people are here or not, but if they are here, you listen to it. This is deep. People have faked my voice, But I asked AI. I said, the last half of 2026, I want to earn $1 million US. What was the fastest way of doing that? Given everything that you know about me. He showed me an idea, and I think I shared with some of my colleagues at NILE, that they know that I use virtual reality to teach that. They say, this is your client, needs this. I approached those clients about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I did some demonstration. The client has commissioned £250,000 sterling kind of job over that. It is there. It is there. If you don't have any imperative, there's an economic imperative. At least I am looking for money, so. And by the way, I haven't earned the money yet, so don't come and ask me for it. But that's this thing. But let me pivot to the fact that all of this, you need some people to guide you. And so, can I plug something for CIMA over here? CIMA has developed an AI accelerator course that would help you to demystify that, and I encourage you to have a look at that. And I've worked with CIMA to develop, I think we'll roll it out pretty soon, a diagnostic for you in terms of your competency levels, etc. That it takes you about less than 5 minutes to go through that diagnostic, and it would then say to you, this is where you are, that's where you are, and it will map you to resources across the world that would help you to do it. But for nothing else, don't fear AI. It's not a demon. At least they haven't told me they are demons as yet. And do that. And I'm a living example of what it could do. And let me give a final example. I use my last son, who put me in trouble with this stuff. So my last son never studied computer science. He studied accounting and finance. And then he decided that AI was the thing to do. And so he started developing apps and things like that based on AI. Now he came to me and said to me, Dad, I need you to invest some money for me. And I said, I don't invest $500, 500 pounds, something, stuff like that. And then he said to me, Dad, this is how much tax I paid for the year. The amount of tax that he paid for the year was what SEMA used to pay me as my salary. That's his tax that he paid. So I said, hey, you are not Nigerian, are you doing 419? Oh,
Excuse me.
please, I beg. And so on. And he said, no. I said, drugs? He said, no. And then he said that he just sold an email project stuff that he did to a private equity firm. When he left university, he had no AI. I mean, he played around with AI and things like that. That's how easy and how this thing you can get into it if you have the right kind of mindset. So I encourage you to do that. But see, IJ, and then Timothy, we will come to you. I know you attended Lagos Business School, but now Business School is here. I can't come here and not plug my own school.
I agree.
And indeed, I mean, people will tell you that the kind of teaching that we're doing now is AI enabled, and how, you know, let me just give one small example. Pilots, how they are trained. They don't put a pilot in a plane straight away. They simulate. You know, and we are using AI to simulate and things like that. So you get real life experience and exposure in there. And for any SEMA member, if you want to thrive, there are 3 X's that you need. You need expertise. You have it already. You need experience. That's the number of years you have used that. But you also need exposure, where you have practiced that. Now, AI can give you the exposure, because you might be in one industry. And you say, how do I apply the same thing I'm doing in another industry? AI can. And those are the kind of things you should be doing with AI as a SEMA member and things like that. And we use that as our teaching. So if you come through my program, for example, I expose you to the 6 sectors that drive Nigeria's economy. Imagine you sit in an interview and you're not going to say, Porter's 5 forces model. If you say Porter's 5 forces model in an interview that I sit in, I mark you down anyway. But you're using AI. AI can do so much. I mean, and not only with Claude saying to you, you work too hard, go and sleep. Kind of. I'm taking a dig at my MC now. Anyway.
Thank you. So, I think we've heard a lot. I think bottom line is inevitable. We must embrace it and demystify AI. Thank you so much. So we have questions from. Okay. The mic is. They're bringing the mic to you.
Good morning, everybody. So I work in internal audits, and we test a lot of data. A data can be several thousands of line items. So you pick out samples instead of testing the whole population. My question goes to Temi Tokwe. In a world of AI right now, if you can make better decisions from testing the whole population faster, easier, more affordable, why not? So my question now is, how do we balance giving AI complete companies' data, but also testing population to make better informed business decisions? Thank you.
Thanks. I guess I'll say that's an easy one, in the sense that that's where governance sits, right? Because there are those decisions around what sort of AI are you using, right? What sort of AI are you permitted to use? Because data privacy is a huge risk with AI. So the organization needs to make decisions around what is allowed to use. Because if those things are allowed, that means they've already embedded controls within the tools that make it such that they can't share your data beyond what is permissible. So if those controls are in place and you use the right AI tools, then by all means, feeding entire company population information and let it help you do the work in terms of the analysis. And it's interesting you asked this question, because it's also around timing. So just this week, we got an email from the group IT team saying, you can only now use Copilot, which is our authorized whatever within the organization. And there was an uproar on the leaders forum, WhatsApp group that we use, saying, oh, while we're preaching innovation in one breath, but then we're restricting. Like, that is to let you know how people are thinking about it, because they already have tools that they use that are not Copilot. So if you don't introduce those controls at the right time, you may lose people, right? And it's amazing that people that senior do not see the risk as well. So also ensuring that people can understand and identify the risk at the right time is important. Thank you.
Thank you. It's unfortunate that Ola was not here, who is not here today with us, because I would have liked to find out from Ola how Microsoft is getting so many organizations to use Copilot. That's a case study. Thank you. Thank you. Any online questions?
IJ?
Yes.
So is it okay to add a perspective?
Yes.
So really good question, and I like how Temitope has couched it. So depending on what you're allowed to use from your organization will be the starting point. For those in internal audits that use ACL, which is not Galvanize, or IDEA, these companies have also built in a lot of AI capabilities into their tool. So all you have to do is find a way to use any of those tools, import the data, and then you can go to the agentic part or the gen part, and you don't even have to be the old idea. You need to have some JavaScript knowledge to code in the idea and have it do very complex analysis. But this time around, they've simplified it so much that you can also just go and write like a Google search, like a basic prompt, and you can tell it 20 or 50 instructions. That 100% data, it will give you signs and wonders, and even way more that you expect. Look, you're going to be shining in front of your bosses with the output that comes out. And the other benefit is you can even layer the visualization component. I call these tools Copilot, or any other AI tool may do some stuff for you, but they may not give you the extra razzmatazz in the look and feel. But these other tools, they can. SAS, some years ago, it was a Power Query, which plugs well into Power BI. So if you do the scripting on the Power Query side of things, again, basic 4GL, you prompt it like a regular Google search. You can then use the Power BI component and say, look, let me have charts, pie charts, bar charts, or suggest the charts. And you find even, way nicer, cooler output. So I just sort of, I put that in there, and I'll send you my invoice when we finish.
Thank you. Any more questions? Olabi, any online questions? Okay. All right. So in conclusion, we can see that bottom line, AI might automate the process, but accountability will always define the purpose, which is what we're looking to. And as we've all said, everyone must, embrace AI. It's here to stay, right? And then the finance function of tomorrow isn't just faster. It must be fairer, clearer, and more responsible. And finally, automation is the beginning, and accountability is the destination. So with that, I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing your experiences with us. And I'm sure, as I said in the beginning, that we have things that we've taken, insights we've taken that we'll take back to our organizations. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Everybody say AI. I just asked Claude, how can I make $1 million by the end of the year? I did, because he's my bestie. I was like, hey, bestie. He was like, hey, Chioma, how are you? I was like, I have a question. Given what you know about me, like I just used Prof's prompt. Given what you know about me, how can I make $1 million by the end of the year? I won't tell you the answer. Just know that it's like I'm changing besties because Claude didn't give me what I needed. I was like, excuse me, sir? Prof, they want to know if it's possible to get your slides. Can they be downloaded and people can have them just to sort of like, we look, is that possible? Can we make that? We can make that happen. We can just make that happen if we want to do that, like for the slides. Yes, so they can be made available to you if you need the slides and only of the information that anybody has that you want. Just ask this fine lady right here, or send an email. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a bit of information. CIMA is having a conference, CIMA Engage Africa 2026, happening in Cape Town, South Africa. You can scan the barcodes on the screen to get more information if you need to. It'll tell you all that you need to know with regards to the conference, hoping that you all can and possibly will attend if it's possible. On this note and on that note, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just thank each and every one of you for coming out today, coming to be with us early morning like this. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here and we're grateful. We don't take it lightly or for granted. Thank you all so much for being here. So just this is a time where you can just network, talk amongst yourselves, get your slides and the other things if you want to, talk to who you need to talk to, and just chit chat. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, my name is Chioma Omera, aka Chigirl, Claude's bestie, and that's my new nickname. Yes, exactly. So now my citation is Chioma Omera, aka Chigirl, comedian, actor, singer, bestie of Claude, and yes, bestie of Claude, and of course, CIMA's in-house MC. There's going to be some refreshments outside, ladies and gentlemen, so please don't hesitate. Have some on your way out. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and may the Lord guide us back to our various destinations. Amen. Thank you.